this 60. I'm just assuming that hero selection shouldn't take more than 60 seconds. And so this also means that we need an area. So let's go back to our terrain. We want to add an area here, so we're going to go to regions. I'm just going to pick a circle. Okay, that circle is non-existent. Hold on one second. Forgot this needs to be dragged. Okay, so we're drawing a circle around all of these guys. We're going to rename this to hero selection. Okay, so let's go back to our triggers and select our area. So this is great, but this will only do it for one player, and we need to do it for every player. So there's actually two ways to do this, and one of them is incorrect. I'm going to show you the incorrect way first. So what you can do is go to player, I believe, and we're going to do it for each statement. 1 second. So for each, and then no, I think it has its own. Let me think about this for a second. Oh, okay, now I remember. So here we're going to use the function to tell us all the players. Should be a function called number of players. So number of players in player group. And then here we can change to allies of player 1, because everybody should be on the same team, I guess. And here we go, all players. So one tempting way of doing this, and you're going to need to create a temp player variable. So this might be a tempting way to do it, but it's actually not going to work. The problem being is, let's say you have slots for 6 heroes, 6 players. Sorry, I keep saying heroes. 6 players, and for instance, there's only 3 players playing, but they're actually 1, 2, and 4 slot. So if you run this, it's going to change it for 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 is going to have a broken game. So we actually want to do this in a different way. So I actually found out only recently how to do this. Player group, for each player in a player group. That's what we do it. And then here it actually has its, we put our variable, and then for all players. So now it's going to do it for every player in the game. So that reveals the spot, and we kind of also need to move the camera to that location, right? So we're going to do Control W, camera. And you can see, maybe camera look at, okay, that's perfect. Variable, value, sorry, that's it. I spaced up for a second. So, for here, change it to temp player, and also here. So that's what I forgot. So, I'm just going to set this to 0. So, we start right off at that spot. Okay. So this will, when we start the map, we'll face all our heroes, and everybody should be able to see it. Okay. Now let's go back down here. So we created our buttons. What's the next step? Let's create a dialog, a confirm dialog. So dialog, create a button, and this button would be for our previous dialog. And we're going to change the dimensions. This looks good. If you're wondering how I know which dimensions to do, I've just been doing this enough times to get a pretty good accurate guess. And we're going to change this to be from the bottom right. And there's no more point in trying to figure out what the distance is from the top. Just pick whatever the closest point is and use that. So in this case we're going to use bottom right, and we're going to offset it. Let me think about this. We at least need to offset it by 300. So how this works is this offset is based off the upper left corner right here. So that means if you set this to 50, only 50 of this will show, and the rest would be off screen. So this needs to be at least 300. I'm going to set it to 500. I think that sounds good. And I'm going to move it from the bottom up 200 pixels. And here we're going to have confirm character. Looks cool enough. And we're going to use border tile on it. Why not? Okay. So now we have a confirm button, and there's all these select buttons. That's good. We definitely want to save the select confirm so that way we can run a trigger for it. Okay, so we're back to our variables. Dialog, confirm, selection, and this is again going to be a dialog item. And then we go back here, set variable, this one, and we set it to the last one that was created. Okay, good. So now that's saved, and we're going to make triggers for that. But before that, let's get the names and the labels up there. Now let's start with, let's start with the name. Dialog, create item, label, and here we're going to again pick our variable. I don't know, 80 sound looked good last time, so I'm going to do the same. Oh, we used 70. Okay, we'll use 80 this time. Why not? We can always check by when we run it to see how it looks. Offset. Oh. I don't want it to be hugging the left side, so I'm just going to do 100 offset. Now this is going to change for each one. And you're wondering why I don't put this in the loop. Well, because the text part right here is always going to change. It's going to be unique. So for this case, we're going to have to make this, 5 times. And this should be the same as this. So we're just going to have to do some little math here. Let me think about this. It's not exactly the same, so it's not just this. In this case, you'd think it would be 190. It's actually not that value, and I can show you. So first unit is the seal, I believe. So let's do the seal up. White text, and there's no fade, so just instantly show the text. So if we run this, we can see there's our guys over there. This camera's pretty far away, but it's there. Here's the lot, and you can see it's a little up. And we also want to change the text too, because it doesn't look really nice. So let's go do that right now. So let's try border title. That seemed a little much more bolder. I don't think that's the right word I'm looking for. Sorry, that's what happens when you try to record at 2 in the morning. Anyways, we need to change this, so I'm just gonna get a wild stab and say 30 more pixels. Maybe 220. Also, let's fix the zoom, because that was pretty far away. So what we actually want to do is I think we want camera pan to object, pan camera, and then we can do the region again here. Will be instantaneous and for all players. Now group, and then we can just delete the other one. So that should be right above them, right in the center. So I think that's better right now. I'm just gonna save it for a second. Okay. So we're back here. I just applied the effect. You can see this by doing display. Raw text, and I changed the offset. So now we want to put an image next to it, and we can do that by doing another dialog. But we're not going to use create dialog item image. So the problem with this is it actually crops the image. So if you have a 153 by 252 image and you say you want an 80 by 80, you're just going to take a section of that image. Or if you pick a bigger number than the actual size, then it'll just duplicate the image. So this is not what we want. We want our image to be resized to whatever size we're working with. So what we're going to do is display screen image instead. And so this is the ID of it. So I thought at first this is how many of the duplicates of the images you want, but it's actually just the ID, so you need to change this for each one. And we need to set a dimension. And we'll know better how to do this once we see what the dimension of the image is. So let's go image. This is going to open up, and we're going to look for a lot. And static is usually the portrait, so we're looking for something that says static. So right there. So that's the portrait. You can see it's 152 by 236. So we know that the width is smaller than the height. And we're going to do 60 by 80. So this is going to be slightly bigger than the text. No, same size, sorry. Yeah. So they're taking up the same amount of space. I think this is all blending type. This is pretty hard to understand. They're not really, there's no really definition of them, but this is lighter than what you're working with right now. This is darker version. I mean, this is lighter than the background, is what I'm trying to say. Multiply multiplies the two values together. Normal, it just applies whatever it is right now. Subtract takes the difference, and you can figure out it as the opposite of that. Alpha is the transparency, so it sums the two transparency values together. So we're going to do normal, and we're going to figure out offset. So if we have the text at 100, we probably want it to be 300, so that should be between, yeah, because this is, the select is at 400, the text starts at 100 and probably can expand all the way up to 300, and then the image will have 300, and so it'll be 300 to 360, which is gives us a lot of space to work with, which is fine. And then again, we need to change this, but this is exactly what the upper value is, so that's 190. Since we wanted to start at upper left, the same as the select button, and then take up the same amount of space. So we created this. Let's just double check quickly if this works. See if our panning worked as well. So our panning worked. The Z-lot button looks better, and now we have an image of the Z-lot. So it looks good, and then we have the confirm button, which I didn't mention last time. So okay. So now let's just finish for the rest of them. Back to triggers, and we're just going to do copy and paste 5 times. So we need to do some changes here. This offset is going to be different, so just add 90. This is 310. Name will be marine, and it's still using the same text style. Sorry, so tired. And then this is going to be number 2, and we also need to change this to be 280, and this static image to be the marine static image portrait. And so marine. And that is not the right marine. Ooh, that one had a really bad day. Okay, let's see if I can find the right marine. Oh, there we go. And we'll do this for the next one. I know this is pretty time consuming, I apologize. So this will be 400, and this will be, I think Zergling's next. Again, checking if the text is applied style. So that should be fine. Now this should be 3. This needs to be changed as well. Boom. And so it's 280 plus another 90, which is 370. So that again here, it's just